What is going on, everyone? Leo here, and welcome back to another episode of the Diaz Traveling Show. We got a hot one here, and we just finished our stop in Italy. Now, I know a lot of people have been here, but this place never gets old. It's fantastic. Love it so much. Both Donna and I have been here separately, but now we're here as a family, and it's still equally as grand. It's still equally as fun. A different experience entirely, but still such a wonderful time. The first thing we're going to say is that there are so many different cities to choose from when you come to Italy, and it's really hard, especially if you have a short time frame. If you're spending 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever it is, there's so many different places to go. It's kind of hard to pick and choose which one you want to go to. So that's the first thing you're gonna have to do when you get to Italy, is decide, or before you get to Italy, is decide where you want to go, because each city has its own unique architecture and its own unique culture. And each town and city has a whole vibe completely its own. So that's something really to look forward to. Now, the first place that we went to was a place called Trieste, which borders on Slovenia. And I've never even heard of it until Donna told us that that's where we were going. But when we got there, it doesn't even feel like you're in Italy. It's got this whole different feel. And rightly so, it was actually occupied by Austria for the longest time. So that's kind of the feel that you get, even when we were walking around. A lot of Austrian influence with the architecture. We did kind of feel that it was a little dingy, and it wasn't the most picturesque kind of postcard place to be. Donna said it kind of reminded her of Marseille because it was on the port. But still, there were quite a few cool spots about, and we'll have to say it was a little bit more attractive at night or in the dark. So I guess it kind of had a lot in common with myself. One thing that we did know is that it was super windy there, and they actually have a name for the wind, which is called the Bora. And for like 2 days or something like that, the wind was just howling, and it was so bad that we couldn't even go out for a walk. But when it did get nice enough to go, we still managed to get out afterwards and see a lot of the city. And we have to say that there is a bit of an appeal there. It is still kind of nice walking around and checking out some of the different sites to see. And it wouldn't be my first choice to go to in Italy, but at the same time, we're glad we went there, because you did get to see that side of Italy that wasn't quite Italian, but it was still pretty cool to experience. From here, we made our way over to Venice. Now, both of us have been here before, but it's so much better when you're there with someone you love, because it's so romantic. And I'll say right now, it's as cliche as it is, the romance is real. Walking through the canals, it was so like, I mean, people always talk about it. You always see it on TV and in movies, but it was actually really cool walking around. And I guess what made it a little bit better is that there weren't so many people around, because, again, the pandemic. Not to say that it wasn't busy, because it was in certain sections, but every now and then we caught ourselves walking down a small little alleyway, and there were very few people there, and it just seemed really cool not having so many people around, and just the buildings around with the water there. At the same time, it can get tedious if you're roaming around for too long and you get lost. That romance can quickly do a U-turn and turn to a bit of a fight. But of course, that would never happen to me and Donna, because we never fight. Yeah. It was still such a good time, and thankfully no flooding when we got there, because apparently flooding happens quite often, but it wasn't there when we went, so that was a good thing. The only worry that we had sometimes was Dominic falling into the canals, but even that wasn't too much of a worry, because he was pretty good, and he stayed far enough that we didn't have to always watch him. Part still feels a bit crowded, as we said, but the main walkways often cleared up, and it was really cool just kind of experiencing it. Even though it's kind of, a open sewer canal, there was still a bit of an appeal to it. They were still very picturesque. We did the gondola ride, and it was still romantic. And if romance is the name of your game here, fellas, if you want some bonus points with your significant other, this is the place to be. And also, Dominic loved it. Now, our last stop was in Milan, or Milano. When I first got to Italy years ago, I totally threw away the idea of going to Milan, because I was thinking, I'm not a big shopper at the time, and I'm more interested in partying and all these other things, and Milan just wasn't for me. But going there with Donna and Dominic, it was fantastic. We didn't know what to expect there. We just thought it was going to be like a big shopping area. And there was a lot of shopping, and it was really cool to go into that central area. And I regret not going there when I was younger, because there is such a feel there that is just so cosmopolitan. It's just so lively. And there's so much culture down there. Now, when you go to Milan, you don't really go there for the historic sites or anything like that. I mean, they do have a few monuments and whatnot, but you're there to immerse yourself in the culture. You know, the shopping, if you like it, the wandering in the upscale streets, and the windows, the decorations that they had getting ready for Christmas, and just the shops. They are so well lit up, and the displays are fantastic. They did have a list of sites to see when we were there, but again, it wasn't like the ancient types you see in Rome or anything like that. The cathedral was still super impressive, and so many people down and around that square were just hanging out, taking pictures. We saw a lot of younger people for sure. Seeing the expensive and ornate stores, personally, now I felt right at home, because as many of you guys know, I'm as baller as they come and only buy brand labels and brand names that all the celebrities wear. So I was really at home there. But Milan, again, super cool to be there. Really awesome to immerse yourself in that culture. And we thought that, yeah, this is a place that we could actually spend more time, and wish we actually booked more time there, but unfortunately we didn't. So that wraps up our Italian leg of this trip. And we have to say it was a phenomenal experience, and we would not hesitate to come back here at all. So hopefully you guys had fun, and I encourage you, get out there and go travel, because even if there's a pandemic, go and explore. Time is ticking away, as we've realized, and we want to explore as much as we can in the time that we have left on this earth. So go out and have fun, and we will see you guys soon.